Welcome to the second episode of Tools for the Trade, a special 4-part mini-series with Mike Greene, looking at expanding your construction company, getting off the tools, getting it ready for exit, etc. But this episode, we want to look at a very little word, but it means so much. Why, as a construction company owner, do you want to expand? Mike, welcome back. Let's get straight to it.
Yeah.
That little word means so much. Why are a lot of your mentors coming to you, and do you think we don't actually look at the real reasons we want to expand?
Yeah, so often when people come to a mentor or coach, what they'll say, they'll start with something like, well, I've lost my mojo, or I haven't got my motivation. And I love to look at words. Words are powerful. Words make a difference. And the word, I'm just not motivated. I want to find some motivation. I'll say, can you motivate me? But if we take that word motivation and we cut it in half, I love the way it sort of separates into motive for action. And if you can find your motive for why you want to do it, your reason why, you won't have any problem taking the action. And often people think, I just got to get the skill. If I'm good at the skill, if I work hard at the skill, it's good. But when you're cold, when you're tired, when you've had a heavy weekend, if you haven't got that reason why, you won't want to get up. And if someone just annoys you that a little bit too much, if you've got a big reason why, you'll just suck it up and smile and move on. But you might lose it if you haven't got that big reason why. And actually, interestingly enough, a lot of motives for action, are more negative than positive. Oh, does that mean I thought positive motivation was supposed to be positive, Mike? Well, no, it's things like, I want to retire my mum. I've seen her working hard all my life. I don't want my kids to have to work as hard as I did, or to feel scared in the way that I did. So if you find your reason why, the facts don't count. What is against you doesn't matter. You're going to push through it. You know, I'm going under it, over it, or fucking through it. But you need a big enough reason why. And often people think, I was getting a Ferrari and that might be a kind of periphery kind of niceness. But if you have it really tough, eventually you get to a point, say, oh, my Fiat's all right, or my Ford's all right, don't need a Ferrari. But if it is, retire my mum, my kid's ill, I want to help them, my community, I want to give back. And often if we can find that why that is bigger than ourselves, actually it doesn't feel like work. 16 hours goes like that. And weekday and weekend, what the fuck's that? If I've got a reason why, I'm working any day, anytime. It's not defined by, oh, I'm not going to start work before this, or it's Saturday, I'm supposed to have a day off, I haven't had a holiday. When you got a good reason, when you got that kind of Everest that you're climbing for, nothing stops you, and it don't feel like work.
Well, that's it. And I think it's the hardest thing for trades is managing our diaries. If you've got a small company, and this is one thing we'll talk about in the next episode of employees versus subbies, you tend to do everything. Now, I look back at when I was the stereotypical day, you're up early, picking up a couple of lads into work, finish work without a proper break, looking at jobs, come back, start pricing up. You might see the kids, oh shit, I haven't eaten, it's midnight, I need to go to bed because I'm up at 5:30. Repeat.
Yeah.
When's the best time to come away from that? Would you say, actually, do it when things are good rather than panic when you're in a whole world of trouble?
The best time to start towards any improvement is now. You know, the minute you allow yourself to say, oh, I haven't got quite enough money yet, or I'm too busy now.
Just an excuse?
Or the kids, well, it's just mañana. And do you know, we live our lives often in the future. As a behavioural profiler, I look at when children are born. When children are born, they are immediate gratification is what they focus on. I'm tired, I'm hungry, I want to cuddle. And they'll cry for whatever they need now. And then the minute they become toddlers, we tend to say, it's only 2 sleeps till Santa. Or if you're a good boy on Saturday, I'll take you to McDonald's. And we start making them look to the future. And then at school, it's like, what are you going to do when you're older? And then we get a job and it's like, oh, when it's all going well, we'll have some kids. Or I want to buy a house. I'm pushing further and further in the future. And then when I retire, I'll do this. And the minute we retire, we start looking back on the good old days. You've got to start living in the moment, accepting 10% of the time should be focused strategically in the future, 4 to 6 hours every week. What do I need to do to make my future better? Get that planned, get that set. But 80% of the time should necessarily be focused obsessively only on being the best me today. But and it is about setting now towards this plan, but you don't suddenly stop doing what's important today to put all your time in the future. I often say to people, think of it like a car. You're driving a car, and the faster you go, the more you need to focus. But if you're driving a car, you've got like 2 or 3% is the side view mirrors. What are your competitors doing? What's everyone else doing? What's my neighbour doing? You know, and 1 or 2% is the rear view mirror. The vast majority is the future. Focus on where we're at immediately in the future and where we're going. And if people can just get focused on not being distracted by the past, oh, I did that before, I failed at that, or people from my council estate don't do that, or people with our level of education don't. Forget the past. The past is like something you can't change. One word I said 1 minute ago, I can't undo it, it's done. But I can change how I feel, what I do, where I'm going in the future. I can change direction at any time. We're not rooted. But it only needs to be 10%. I'm going to do today what I need to do, but I'm going to plan tomorrow. I'm going to take half an hour every day or 4 hours every week. They're strategically putting me in a better place next month, next quarter, next year. What does that require of me? Training, maybe. What does that require of me? Stopping some drinking, maybe. What does that require of me? Getting rid of these lazy ass bum mates I've got that are anchoring me back.
Yeah.
And we've all got them.
Yeah. I think the key thing is when it becomes just a repetitive cycle in your head, you feel that coming off the tools, everything's going to grind to a halt. But that's the key reason that a lot of people want to come off the tools, is to actually slow down a bit. Because when you're trying to do everything, you'll just burn out. You can't do it. So how would you say, what are the first steps of any trade on the tools to go, okay, this is where I want to get to. I want to come off the tools and slowly expand my company. What's the key thing, would you say? Because when you're in that cycle, it's so hard to see.
Yeah. I mean, look, we all talk about getting off the tools. That doesn't mean you can just dump the tools. Right, I'm off the tools now. You know, it starts by teaching yourself the skills that you'll need when you're off the tools. Do I know how to attract, train, motivate and retain people? Because I don't just want to employ this bloke who seems like a good bloke. You know, how do I attract the right people? How do I train them? And we got to invest in people, ourselves mostly. How do I motivate them and retain them? So I don't know how to do that. I've got to learn some of that stuff. I'm not good with numbers. I don't know numbers. Either get an amazing accountant or learn that shit. You can do finance for non-financial managers. You can teach, I mean, there's great lessons even on YouTube and stuff. You don't have to pay a load of money all the time, although the best investment you'll ever make is yourself. But you know, do some training. So to me, alongside the job, I would say, okay, I'm going to stop watching a bit of Netflix. I'm not going to go to the football every Saturday, maybe. I'm going to just take some time, only 4 to 6 hours, as I said, to educate myself in some of these other skills. Then I'm going to employ somebody. And people think, yeah, but let's say it was heating. A gas engineer's 45 grand, let's say. I can't afford 45 grand. You've only got to afford 3 months. I say it's not 45 grand. It's maybe 3,700 a month. Okay. So because within a few months, he or she should be bringing in you the revenue that is making you the profit to sustain their wealth or their income, if you like, their cost. And then we look at, okay, now they're getting a bit of profit. I can make some. But profit is the other key word. So many people are charging stupidly cheap prices. Hell, if you're not going to charge a decent margin, get a fucking job. Because you're not in business unless you're making money.
This is the key thing I've found. A lot of us price jobs for that. Say you're doing an extension, all the different trades coming through, materials, labour, you might put on a few percent if you think you can get away with it. But as a business, that's worth nothing.
No, but it's also owning it. A lot of people are embarrassed or ashamed of this
Yes.
price or selling. But that's because they've never learned price or selling. Now, when they were first looked at an electrical circuit or a boiler, if you'd have said, all right, then first day, crack on with it, Andy. Shit, I don't know where to start. But by the end of their apprenticeship, they know exactly what to do. They can see it all in their brain, ding, 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 and they can see a fault if it's working. Why should they suddenly be good at selling or knowing how to price? That's a skill you got to learn as well. But, you know, you look at someone like Charlie Mullins, who for this sector is where they all want to be, you know, over 100 million. He's going again, of course, in September as well with WeFix, and he's going to be a billionaire from it. And I believe the man, you know, got so much energy. But what he says is, if I was going to an area where I thought there weren't a lot of wealth, even me or my team, in the core, we would pre-qualify them and say, what's the most important thing to you when we come out and price for you? Oh, it's price. Oh, well, I can tell you now, we're probably not going to be the right people then, because we're probably 20 or 30% more than anyone else. Oh, well, I want the best price. Do you really, or do you want the best job? Well, let me talk to you about that, because the reason we charge a bit more is because we employ the best people. If you want, look on Indeed, you'll see that I pay 10, 20, 30% more for my people that work in my company than anyone else. Why? Because I want the best people. Why? Because I want to do the best job for you so that we don't have to come back. But also, if we do have to come back, I'm making enough money to come back. But hell, if you want to go to someone cheap, like Box Boilers, or going to farm it out to any old scrote, then do that. But if you want the best possible job, this is going to last you 10 years, then we'll come and price it. And no one will do a better job than we do. And look at our reputation, look at our reviews, and you'll see that it's not just me saying that. You know, owning it and having that confidence, because you can't say I pay people more to get the best if you're not, because people can hear that, you know. So commit to that price. But if you're not making 30%, or aiming to make 30% and maybe giving a little, Christ, that money will soon go. And the average person is making less than they'd make in a job. Why would you have a business? It's hard work. Unless you're going to make decent money and teach yourself the skills to make decent money. I'm not talking about the plumbing or electrics. I'm now talking about the people management, the brand management, the selling, and so on. If you're not going to do that, then don't run into business.
Just to finish up this episode, people coming to you to expand their company, the big why word, is it a lot of people saying, I want to make loads of money? Because to me, as you say, there's got to be a proper goal. Just seeing pound notes, you're not going to have that drive. Yeah. Is that a lot of...
Well, they think they want to make loads of money. And I used to say, even as a little kid, on one day, Mum, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to look after you. But when I look back as a behavioural profiler and I sort of think, where did that come from? What I really meant was the millionaire thing was just a number in my head that made me think at that level we'd be safe. At that level, no one could pull the rug. At that level, my mum wouldn't have to work so hard. At that level, I wouldn't have to be dressed up in car boot or jumble sale clothes. So it was more than what it would give me, if you like. But so yes, put a number to it if you need to. But the other reality is, don't be stupid. 1-to-1 ratio, or however good you are at being an electrician, a plumber, a bricklayer, you might earn an okay living, but if it's you doing the doing, you are never going to have that wealth. Unless you build a business where you are using your head. And I can do over 100 or 1,000 projects. You know, for instance, we have a building company at the moment. We've got 146 properties. We're in planning for another 350. We've got a great team. I spend 2 hours a week in that. That's all. 2 hours a week in a multi-deca £1 million business. How can I do that? Because I've got great people. I set clear goals. Every week we meet for a couple of hours and say, oh, where are we on the numbers? If there's a problem, what is the problem? How can we overcome that problem? It's like, I can't do all of what I want to do, need to do with my hands. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But I talked about how my mentor before would make me do stuff. And one of the things was on a boat. And the second week of training, the RNI had to come and rescue us. And at the time, you know, we'd lost our steering because we got caught in a lobster pot. It caused us a crash jibe. Two people got injured. So, you know, skipper says, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. We've got 22 souls on board, no ability to steer kind of thing. And at the time, I was throwing up anyway because the first day out of sailing, I always got seasick. And it was chaos. But he was calm as a day. Rich Gold, 28-year-old skipper, smoking a roll-up with his hand, do this, puts the roll-up down, picks up and does the Mayday. Now, what I learned from that, because my mentor would interrogate me, what did you learn, what did you learn? I said, well, what I realised at that point was the skipper was at the back of the boat. He weren't leading from the front. If he was at the front, he wouldn't have seen anything other than where we were going. By being at the back, he can see everyone in the team. Are they doing it? Are the sails right? What's happened here? Where's the wind coming from? From being at the back, so you don't have to lead from the front. Too many business people and trades particularly think, yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to expect my people to do anything I won't do. Or
I'm the best, I'll do it.
I'm the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit. If you want to build a business, you can't do it from the front. That doesn't mean to say you're afraid or not willing to go and do it sometimes.
Brilliant. And that is perfectly linking into next week. We've looked at why. Next week, how? Do you need to invest in yourself? Do you need to look at training, taking on staff? Is it going to be a subcontractor or on the books? Next week, we're going to look at how, not why, but how you grow your construction company.